times have come. Here, but now they're gone. Seasons don't fear the reaper, nor do the wind or the sun or the rain. We can be like they are. Come on, baby, don't fear the reaper. Baby, take my hand. Don't fear the reaper. You'll be able to fly. Valentine is done. Here, but now they're gone. Romeo and Juliet are together in eternity. Romeo and Juliet, women every day. And Juliet, women every day. Like they are. Come on, baby, don't fear the reaper. Baby, take my hand. Don't fear the reaper. You'll be able to fly. Don't fear the reaper. Baby, I'm your man. La 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 la. La 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 la.
Blood on their hands, a serpent's breath, foreshadows left in a house of death. A pack of wolves in a kangaroo court. Truth gets lost in a locked report. Moscow after midnight, blood on the rail. Every liar's hand on the killer's veil. The truth's a ghost in a phantom crowd. No one's innocent with silence this loud. Frat boys swear on a broken vow. Pi Beta whisper she lied anyhow. They're gonna get you said where the cameras sink. When timelines converge, don't blink. Moscow after midnight, blood on the rail. Every liar's hand on the killer's veil. The truth's a ghost in a phantom crowd. No one's innocent with silence this loud. The Orion's knife, the driver's call. Grub truck Mac for the students' fall. They fed pain a name, they fed him a lie. The hangman's rope fits the one innocent guy. Moscow after midnight, blood on the rail. Every liar's hand on the killer's veil. The truth's a ghost in a phantom crowd. Everyone is guilty with silence this loud.
Unlike The Secret, it's time to play. Ashley's Idaho dollhouse is here to stay. Step inside, the mystery's alive. Miniature clues where the truth can hide. Cool, it was built by the FBI. Yeah, that's so odd. Get Brian facing the firing squad. Rad, on purpose, it's not built to scale. Whoa, Ashley's make-believe, let the lies unfold. Ashley's Idaho dollhouse, yeah. Gather round, crack the case. Ashley's Idaho dollhouse. Woo! Every room's a twisty maze. Fool the jury, solve the riddle. It's the coolest game in the middle of the night. Let's go. Latent footprints, fast food bags, yikes. Sliding walls, automatic strike. Ignore evidence, switch the file. Ashley's got style with her secret guile. Let's fool the jury. Spin the story, rewrite the rules. Dollhouse drama, make our jury the fools. Ashley's Idaho Dollhouse. Yeah. Sneak, scheme, frame, BK. Ashley's Idaho Dollhouse. The truth's just a game away. Case closed. Ashley's Idaho Dollhouse, where the liars play. Get all schmeezy, oh Dollhouse. Because relies an adventure. Actual evidence not included, drama always included.
Good evening, my beautiful crime family, on this Tuesday night. You must think I'm getting my nights mixed up, right? We're going to be looking at a few things tonight, and things I kind of missed last night and that I forgot about. And then we're going to be looking at a birdie video that came out. So, and by the way, it looks like he'll be here live next Thursday, not this coming Thursday, but the next Thursday. So, yeah, and I know what we got kind of planned, a couple of different things, and yeah, it should be a really good show. And I got Delby Rush coming on this Friday evening. So, and Delby's always a great panelist, so that should be a good show also. So anyway, let's say hi to my beautiful crime family. Yes, Latina, my girl, good to see you. Debbie Gazzardo, my girl, good to see you. Leslie and Billy, good to see you. And Seventh Angel, good to see you. And Deborah Thompson, good to see you. Mrs. Johnny Knapp, good to see you. Terry Martin, my girl, good to see you. Valida K, good to see you. Crime Spy, good to see you. Woke Up, good to see you. Leo, good to see you. And Deborah Thompson, good to see you. Breezy Feather, good to see you. I got to keep us going. Deborah Thompson, good to see you. Leah Story, my girl, good to see you. If I haven't said it, Thrive Off Grid, good to see you. Wade Bird, good to see you. Sally Shepherdson, good to see you. And everybody up there, good to see you. Debbie Ann, good to see you. Yeah, so anyway, we're going to be looking at a few different things. I should probably... what one should I do first? That's the question. Let me take a peek. And yeah. I think this is the one. Yeah. Okay, let's take a peek at what this is. Something that I missed last night that I wanted to show. And where it? Okay. So let's start that over. Getting there. All right, here. Okay, I'll wait for that to load up here. There we go. And let's give this a play. Okay, it's twirling around here. There we go. So yeah, eh, you know, we've looked at it before, that Hudson Lindahl case, and there's something just not right about it. And you hear these rumors like on 4chan and stuff, and there's so many possibilities in this case that you have to look at everything. And was Maddie going to say something about it? Or you know, like, was Ethan going to say something? And you have to look at those things in this case. And I mean, come on, drowning in 6 inches of water, and he's only at 1.7. I don't know, man. I don't know about that. That's a big question mark. And you know what? I want to look up the whole thing on him. I want to look up like the autopsy and everything, because it just doesn't sound right. So in other words, in 6 months' time, with 1122 and 100 yards of that radius, 5 people been on, that are not here with us anymore. Oh, you could. Oh, you couldn't hear it? Really? Oh man, I don't know what the hell the deal is there. Let me see if I can. Let me try opening that with a different program here. I'm not sure what. I think it's just Windows Media opening it. There shouldn't be any problem. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, open with. Let's try Windows. Let's try that. Okay, so and then why let me present this in a different way here. I'll try running it again. If you can't hear it, then I'm going to have to figure something out at a different time. Okay. So I'm going to try sharing this again. And let me know if you hear this. All right. Let me know if you hear this as soon as I start sharing. Wow. What the hell? There it goes, I think. No. Why is this not sharing? There we go. Boy, that took a while to get up there. Okay, so here we go. Let me know. Well, dang. Okay. There we go. Okay, let me know. Let me know if you can hear. Can you hear this? Can you hear? Can you hear? Can you guys hear it? That's all I'm trying to find out. No? Okay, then we're just going to drop it. And we're going to get to something I know you can hear. I don't know what's going on there. That's really, really weird. I'm going to have to look in my settings. I don't know why my settings would change like that, though. Okay, so let's go this here because this is what the main thing is anyway. Here you go. Boy, I'll tell you. Come on. What the hell? StreamYard really needs to clean up because I've done all that. What in the hell? I'm going to try it again. I'm going to let this load first. All right, there we go. And okay. I'm getting there, I do believe. This is really messed up, though. It shouldn't be like this. Okay. I'm going to make sure it's sharing. There we go. All right, here we go. And this is from Birdie. Okay, wait, no, I got to see my chat here. There we go. Okay, so here we go. This is from Birdie last night, and it's called "Did the Idaho 4 case distract us from a nationwide takedown?" And this is a good video. I'm not going to play out 2.5 hours of this, but I'm going to play enough to know. Now, I want you guys, if you haven't seen Birdie, you're going to see that this is a level up, and you should be subscribed to him. Now, he has got back on TikTok, so he's been doing some TikToks and then uploading them onto YouTube, like a slow transformation. So anyway, let's listen to this because this is pretty crazy.
Is
wild.
This is just my thoughts. I obviously have no idea. None of us really have any idea what happened, but we can.
I'm waiting for that circle to go away. It's gone away on my side. There we go. Okay.
For about 10 minutes, which is usually how long I let like the intro where I say what's up to everybody go. What up, Lori? So yes, this is entertainment only, as Phoenix said. Now, here's what I'm thinking, guys. If you guys have been following me for a while, if you guys have heard like my theories, like that's what I like to do. I like to look through the lens of like, well, what if that happened? Or like, what if that happened? And I've always been a big believer that while court documents are obviously important, it really only tells what's going down in the like recent past or the immediate future for court, or just of what the event that got this to court. I guess that's all it would talk about. So you have to look at the bigger picture. You have to look at things that happened. All this went down. And I came up with this name, the Operation Bundy Protocol, and it's pretty much how an unaliving case may have covered up the real takedown. And when you guys hear me say C gang, actually, I'm not even going to say that, C group, just know that I'm talking about the CARTEL group. Okay. So that's what C group means, just for reference. And Phoenix, if you're in the chat, I know I see you in the chat, but if people ask, any of my mods, or if you guys heard that, maybe just let them know so I don't have to stop and keep explaining it. Don't all type it in the chat. Do not do that. Please. Anyways, here's what I believe happened. I think that as I walk you guys through this, you're going to see how this Operation Bundy Protocol could have been showing us how an unaliving case may have covered up the real takedown of a C group in the Pacific Northwest. And while the public obsessed over a lone wolf, the real operation wrapped up in silence. So I kind of did this as if like it was like a mission brief. Maybe it's lame. Maybe some people think it's corny. Honestly, I had fun putting this together, so I hope you guys enjoy it. But here's like the mission overview. All right. The Idaho 4 wasn't just an unaliving. It was a tactical diversion. It was done to shield the collapse of a massive federal investigation trafficking network operating through U.S. universities. And what was the objective of this? Well, we're going to use a high-profile, emotionally charged unaliving to redirect public and media scrutiny while federal agencies dismantle C Group assets embedded in academic infrastructure. We're going to target, or this was targeted in the Pacific North.
Waiting for that little, there we go.
Happened from about 2020, the beginning of 2020, end of 2019 till 2025, actually just a few days ago. So that's the window that I believe this was all happening in. So C groups move rugs using college students, frat houses, and rental properties. The investigators get close, but they can't act without major legal authority. And if you've been on my lives before, what I've talked about is how you and I have both witnessed a handful of times, even in the last decade, especially in the last 2 decades, 3 decades, when a tragedy allows people to emotionally palate overreach with legal authority. So in this case, when they need to act without legal authority due to the nature of this investigation, as far as like the public disclosure, they, meaning the feds, the news, the media, you're going to see a high-profile unaliving case suddenly happen in a small college town. And so while the media chases the unaliver, I believe that the feds were quietly making arrests, busting safe houses, and flipping informants. So here's like a more in-depth summary. Okay. So for 5 years from 2025, I believe that a covert multi-force was embedded. Sorry. For 5 years from 2020 to 2025, a covert multi-agency task force embedded itself into America's colleges to dismantle the laundering network. Frats became storage hubs. Dorms became trafficking zones. Student organizations moved money and product. By late 2022, I believe that the entire pipeline was mapped out. But arresting everyone, that wouldn't be possible to do it all at once. The network, as you guys know, especially that C group, is extremely, extremely well protected. So what is the solution? Well, we need to trigger a distraction so extreme it drowns out the biggest domestic C group takedown in decades. And if you've seen the news, I think also too in the chat, we got
Okay, so he's talking about stuff that I've laid out to a certain degree, and he takes this thing and really explains it well, and this does fit, like what I said at the very beginning with when I called Rory that there's a line that goes up that way, and the thing is that it's taken on. It's always been kind of done that way, but not to this extent. It's getting dirtier and nastier, and more universities are involved, and he will get into this a little bit. Definitely listen to this.
or if it's not true. And yeah, I'm going to have Phoenix pop up after I get through this. There's not that many slides left. I just want to get through this and then I'll get Phoenix's thoughts. So here's what I think was all happening. As I said, like the tactics that were deployed. Okay. I think that they flipped low-level frat dealers into informants, police departments, faculty, and administration. I think they tagged psychologically vulnerable students as assets, proxies, or fall guys. Does that ring any bells? And I believe that academic psyops engaged with the criminology professors briefed on the ops, meaning Ramsland, the BTK profiler. I think that party houses were used as recruitment vectors. And I think that what they did is they looked at the Greek life and how essentially students would log social patterns. And that's when I was saying by 2022, I think that federal visibility across the student rug network in Washington, Idaho, fully embedded within 2 years of starting that in 2022 when they started it in 2020. I don't think my career was random. Okay. I think he was the behavioral release valve, quote unquote, for public narrative. And that was he was a failsafe. If the grid collapsed, they'd sacrifice the pawn. Now, I could put my tinfoil hat on right now and talk about how in the Dateline episode, they spelled Ted this way. They spell it this way. Okay, really? Now they don't. Well, okay, I'll show a picture of that later. But it's like, yeah, you know what? It's like he is the pawn. They sacrificed it. Checkmate. This shit's over. We accomplished our thing. Now you guys are probably going to see whatever goes down in court. Who knows? But I believe that the operation was over because when I say Koberger wasn't random, folks, he leaves Pennsylvania. He transfers to WSU months before these busts all go active. Okay. He was priorly placed under Dr. Ramsland, as I said, FBI advisor and a BTK profiler. Dude studies digital forensics, psychopath behavior, and law enforcement responses, pretty much what criminology is. Evidence that connects them to the victims. So this is where I think this all goes active, everybody. its wallets. They needed a story to take the spotlight and completely own the spotlight. And you start thinking about other people that are in the media and how Steve G is all this crypto guy. It's like, guys, it makes so much sense. They thought this shit through. These are, if you're going to take a group, it's not getting done overnight. It's going to brutally unalived with no forced entry, no motive. And no real digital trail. But the media, they had a criminology student who was awkward on a live. Right. Easy to run with. So while the country screamed serial unaliver, I think that the feds moved silently. And if you guys can see this, who remembers the Cowboys?
Less than an hour ago, we were here
Just
and
watch everything going in the back.
8.
Okay, what's coming up here is pretty important. Check this shit out. I'm going to do something here first, though. It might just kind of go black screen for a second. And I'm gonna go down a little bit lower and there. Okay, we'll see if that works a little better. Okay, anyway, so this is pretty important here.
Federal, they were inside the home, and the home was lit up. So we were able to peek in some of the windows, but we saw those men inside the home in the 2 particular rooms where the murders took place. We did not see them leaving with any materials. I asked them a couple of times, why are they back? They did not answer me. They pulled away in 2 vehicles. One had a Washington State plate. The other had an Idaho plate. But that is all we can tell you. But we did see a lot of activity this
Okay, I'm waiting. Yeah, I seen it was doing that circling crap, so that's why I did that. StreamYard's really been struggling lately, and I see it. Someone is saying that other people are having some problems too. Yeah, okay, I'm sorry that it's doing that. I'm froze. Okay, I'm going to. Okay, I reloaded the page just to see. Let me see. I'm gonna go this way out, though. I do believe. There we go. Okay, am I back? I hope I'm back. Yep, I did that. I did that today too, Shelley. I've done everything I could think of. And it's just StreamYard. It's maybe, you know what I might have to do is, yeah, I might have to get a hold of StreamYard or something. Okay, I'm back. All right. So anyway, let's get back to that because this is pretty important. It really is. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to back it up a little bit. There we go. Okay.
Less than an hour ago, we were here,
Just
and
watch
about
everything go in the
5
background.
What the
planes.
hell? I don't believe this. Yeah, no, stay there.
Close investigators. We don't know if they're local, state, federal. They were inside, and we saw a lot of activity inside the home, and the home was lit up. So we were able to peek in those men inside the home in the two particular rooms where the murders took place. We did not see them leaving with any materials. I asked them a couple of times, why are they back? They did not answer me. They pulled away in two vehicles. One had a Washington state plate. The other had an Idaho plate. But that is all we can tell you. But we did see a lot of activity. This house was lit up for nearly an hour. They were inside. We don't know why. Nothing seemed to be removed. But as you know, Ashley,
it's totally a Fed ban, and I don't think that they expected this camera guy to be right there with a camera and a light in their faces.
Rooms where the murders took place.
Keeping their heads
we
down.
did not see them leaving with any materials. I asked them a couple of times, why are they back? They did not answer me. They pulled away in two vehicles. One had a Washington state plate. The other had an Idaho plate.
Watch what he does here.
But we did see a lot of activity.
Those guys, I just like, I think, let's be honest. You got 4 or 5 burly ass dudes that I don't know if that guy's got a fire pew pew on him, but it seems like they're all keeping their heads down. I'll try to pause it if I get a clear shot of it.
Where the murders took place, we did not see them leaving.
Oh, I wonder if we could you imagine if we could see a Marshall badge? What is this? Is that an earpiece?
Check it out. Check it out, people. Check it out.
Kind of looks like it, doesn't it? Does that look blurred out too? Just like right here?
Keep watching.
Oops.
With any material.
Keep watching.
I don't know. I just think too that totally looks like a I'll go back one more time, but it just totally looks like a federal government van they're getting into.
The home in the two particular rooms where the murders took place. We did not see them leaving with any materials.
Check it out.
Hold on.
rooms where
Please, God, make me
Where the
fast and
murder-
accurate with stopping this video.
took place. We did not
Oh,
Right there. Right there. Check it out.
They got that shit blurred out, everybody. That's a Marshall badge.
Yep.
Boom. That should say everything that I've been saying. Was Gucci, Phoenix?
You see it?
Oh, I see it. I was saying, I was like, God, make you fast and accurate with this mouse to click so I could pause it in time.
So, federal marshals, fucking federal marshals going into that house. You know, what does that say? What does that say? Let me, I got to do something here. Can I do this? I don't know if I can do that or not. How's that one? Okay, yeah, so that's where I'll go for it right now. Yeah, the federal marshals. Okay, so does it make sense? Was there a big and when he talked about the bus, I reported on those buses. If you remember, I ran shows on every bus that went on, and there was a lot of them. And then there was one 5-6 days ago, a huge one. So let's keep going here. Which one is it? Okay, there we go. And no. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Actually, I want it better than that even. Let's go. Where was it? Let's try that one. No, that's not even what it shows it is. I hate that shit. You know, why don't they can I do this? That's better. Let's go with that.
I kept saying, go back, go back, go back. You're right. You were right. Spot on.
Oh, man, that's insane. I got to screenshot that.
And the news out.
Yeah, well, and Phoenix, I'm gonna finish. I want you. You could stay up here. Don't worry about it. I want to go through this because I wanted to play that to show the chat that I'm not out of my mind when I'm like, no, this is a huge thing, and that's why there's so many different aspects. People go, what theory are you talking about today? I'm like, no, this is parallel.
No,
under the umbrella.
Fact.
Yes. So wanted to show now. Oh, son of a! I gotta look into. I gotta make sure that this is fine for you guys to see it. All right, there we go. So here is what I think is the best way to describe this, and I'll get it good. You still think this was just about 4 college students? No, this was about nuking a C group channel without causing collapse level of panic in college towns across the country, knowing that the C group has infiltrated the Greek organizations probably at a super high level. All right. I think the DEA used post-unaliving chaos to seize flagged rentals. I think that the HSI quietly deported international runners tied to C group laundering. I think that the F-Rug seizures in Washington and Idaho reached record highs for a reason. None of them were publicly ever tied to students, too. Don't you find that weird? Maybe that is the national security that we heard about in the court docs. Digital forensics wiped out, informants relocated, sealed filings dropped. And here are my final thoughts. And then I have one more slide with some statistics. What we were never told was that the Idaho 4 unalivings were the quote-unquote public sacrifice used to end a 5-year multi-state operation targeting the C gang trafficking through the Pacific Northwest that targeted the U.S. universities. I believe that Koberger is either a patsy, he's a burned asset, or he's a controlled sacrifice to protect the federal methods. And the victims, they were either random targets of opportunity of the C group where they found out and they got it. Unfortunately, God rest their souls if that happened. But if it was WITSEC and they were removed, they would need a symbolic player-style ritualized cover hit, which is where I think Koberger, being the narrative release valve, the lone wolf obsessed with serial unalivers, would then explain all of the symbolic ritual aspects of it to sell it in the public eye, to keep the heat off of everything going on in the background. So now no one's really ever going to talk about what really got dismantled. The pipeline's gone. The crypto wallets are silent now. And you're still stuck on the knife sheath. I hope you guys enjoyed my TED Talk.
Awesome job, Bertie. But you know what they also took down? They took down the head, the middle, and everyone underneath. But they actually took out TCOs. Those are transactional criminal organizations. And why are they important? Because they have offices in foreign asset control. That is why.
Yes. So this was an estimate. Okay. I looked for about 20, 30 minutes on Google of any article that I could find that I felt in my mind would be credible over 5 years. And I was actually pretty surprised. Now, this is a pretty conservative estimate too. You know what I mean? Like I made sure that it was like a large enough rug bust to make bigger news outlets. You know what I'm saying? If that's kind of my criteria. Okay. So the estimated total 2020, 2025, which also, guys, who remembers when we found in this chat on Alive the funding that started right in 2020? And what was it? And who was it to? I'm telling you, this was a major freaking deal that this happened. And I'll pull up an article at the end of this, but I believe that in the last 5 years, there was 10 to 15 C group link busts or seizures in the Pullman-Moscow corridor. They were either directly suppressed, they were rerouted through sealed filings, or they're about to be bundled into a federal RICO op that targeted all these West Coast nodes. And look at
absolutely.
And then I just want you guys. Sorry, as you say that,
yeah. We're just not talking about the rugs. We're not talking about the people moving. We're talking everything and cybercrime.
I hope that didn't just show. Oh, good. Look at that. I don't know if you guys can see that actually. I'll move it over.
In 5 states. 5.
That's crazy.
It goes down to Utah. They capped on the same day 5 different massive organizations.
Look, and if in Phoenix, you're gonna be able to speak on it better than me just from your experience. But I feel like I've seen enough movies. Not that that's credibility, but there's truth that's in Hollywood, right? I mean, we see it.
Oh.
Let me do this. All right. Well, who am I answering to? Tonka, dude's way out base and locating the real perps. Not really, he isn't. Because what he is saying is that the cartel infiltrated universities and fraternities along with universities, and it's a huge operation. So yeah, there could be frats, like the frats involved um, in this operation, because that's what they're targeting. That's what the cartels are targeting throughout the United States. They're targeting kids in the universities to distribute their product. And that's a problem. That's a huge problem. Yep, Joanne, that's a huge problem. And and that he's reporting on is, and maybe I should play that whole part again, if it's being misunderstood. That opens up the door to, it could be a lot of different perpetrators, because it could be the cartel. And what they're doing also, and what he's saying is not just that, is that these federal agencies with 3 letters and stuff like that, they're recruiting these kids to, I'll just be, I'm just going to say it in my language, snitches, to snitch on product being moved and blah, blah, blah. And what he's actually saying is, one of the things that he's saying is, could it be an extraction where they extracted the people out of there? Because there definitely was these investigations going on. And I know, and I've been told by right people, that there's 3 different investigations going on. And he's talking about from 2000 to 2025, the cartel has been targeting universities and fraternities and sororities to distribute their product. And then you have the other side of it, where agencies are recruiting kids to tell on people. And that's when it gets nasty. That's when it can cause a lot of problems. And yeah, anyway, I'll let it play for a while longer here. And that bust also was into crypto. So you have all these investigations going on. It's a huge money laundering. I mean, what they're doing and what they're trying to attack is this whole section of the United States. Okay. And I think it's wrong to assume, though, that because they're getting better at, nailing these people, that it's going to get any better. Because in my experience, all right, if something like that happened to a lion, I mean, it was up and running in 4 or 5 days. I mean, it just goes a different route. However, they get it there. And so this war has been going on for a long time, but this is what's happening right now. And they are attacking it at a higher level, because they have to, because the cartels are going after the universities and the frats and sororities and kids in colleges to get rid of their, trafficking to them. Anyway, I'll let this keep going and get me out of here. We'll see if I can figure this out again. There we are.
as far as like if you're going to take down a giant organization, you got to hit it all at once. It's got to be quick. It's got to be swift. You got to have all your shit in a row before you do it.
The most important thing is you have to make it be believable.
Exactly.
Think of the movie that came to my mind when I first heard this case, put it on the back burner. I said, I wait to see some court documents happen. This reminds me of Enemy of the State.
Yeah. Oh, that's a really good example. That's a really good example. And I guess obviously I was focused more on, presenting there. I don't know if you saw questions in the chat. I feel like I hate to sound like I'm playing down someone's level of like IQ to be able to follow this, but I think that this little cartoon sums it up. As far as someone just said, well, what does that have to do with the student? I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I don't get how what? I think it's very, look, the C group started to move their rugs using college students and frat houses and rental properties. It's like, I'm not trying to give the C group props here. It's genius on their end. People are always moving in and out. College kids maybe want to make a quick buck. They're in rental properties. These people are moving in and out all of the time. Okay, so then if the investigators did get close, like we're talking like there are so many people that could be potentially implicated in this. You would need a distraction. And then while that distraction's going on, the feds have the legal overreach and the public's acknowledgement of we'll let you overreach our rights to get this monster off the street, which is really on 4 tangents 3 million times now about. But again, this is one of those moments where it's like it's kind of like a gentleman's handshake agreement with us and the law officials of like, all right, like, yeah, obviously if you're going to get the C group out of our universities, well, we have no problem with that. Just keep it for that and that only. Don't start using it on citizens who are protesting or whistleblowing, So I don't know if you have any comment on that aspect, Phoenix.
Absolutely. It makes perfect sense when you think about big picture and little picture at the lower end and the higher end. And I kept telling people, look at the 10,000 foot view. Look at from the top down. Because if this really happened to these 4 individuals, it's horrible. And if obviously, in fact, that the C was using the college students and they had to go and take out someone that was actual an informant, that's unfortunate.
And that's why we've always said we obviously don't know. Like, I just think in general, all of the evidence that we're seeing and don't know, but if I was a betting man, there is that this went wrong and the op got burned as no, the op was successful, hence why the leader is now needed to be protected. Hence why even that one girl's mom says, no, she moved away. She started a new life in the NBC Dateline doc. And also look at the timing of that Dateline documentary dropping within 96 hours of that bust. My wife made a joke. She goes, it's almost like they were like, shit, this comes out in 2 days. We got to throw it together. Maybe they did. Maybe they literally did. They were tasked with, hey, yes, the op's done. Now release it. Reinforce the narrative. We can't.
They had no choice.
Yes.
They had no choice because this bust is still hot. It was 5 days ago, 6 days ago, 5 or 6 days ago. Remember when we started talking about this, how many people came against us and said yet per se, because now with what's happening in the case with Koberger, that they, I guess both sides struck a deal not to use the IGG tip, the federally policy that they ignored.
Yep. And
if they allowed that to come into this case, it would set precedence to, just walk all over our rights if we had our DNA in a database. And I think that's more more than likely to be guilty. Who knows? Did he do this? I mean, we've talked even about maybe an asset that had to do certain things. I don't know. There's not enough evidence. Like I said, I think that this was all a big distraction until they got what they needed. And they did.
And so okay, it's important for us to do this exercise because there are people that have said it to me, who reads the court documents. No, I do. And as I said in the beginning, I just think that the court documents only tell a fraction of the story. But let's look at from a legal process standpoint, especially in a Supreme Court capital case where a man's life's on the line. What guidelines? Well, the FBI still broke their own guidelines. And then they had another woman come on the camera. And she goes, well, if we just looked at that in itself, and they broke their own guidelines, that, well, that would tell me, and that loophole is that they didn't need a warrant. Well, why would they go that route? Well, it's probably because they didn't have enough probable cause to get a warrant, everybody.
Correct. And because in order to go through those channels, and you just had a process to get warrants. Without a warrant, you know, is it going to get thrown out of the court? Probably.
It's illegal.
It is illegal. And not only that, there have been police officers involved in this case that have potentially have violated some Brady laws. I mean, if you start to look at the history of what's happened here, were there corrupt individuals that were on the department? Absolutely, positively could be, because there are some legal pending litigation in regards to these violations. So I think they're just trying to cover everything, close everything up, put it in a pretty bow for the public. But now that this has happened, how does the public feel after what they've done to Koberger? I mean, someone said, how, if he got off and walked away, he would never be able to work again. He'd never be able to study again. Everyone would know who he is. Absolutely not. This guy could walk away, make millions of dollars, sue the state, do whatever they wanted, and wouldn't have to work another day in his life. Honestly, he could write criminal books. I mean, think about the takedown in history.
Yeah, I think it's going to be twofold. I think, like, I would guess that's probably, again, everybody, we're looking through the lens of, like, if it happened like this, I would probably guess that there's got to be a little bit of give and take for the person that's going to go in and do it. Because, look, I'm sorry, there's probably, like, at least another 100,000 Kobergers on a conservative end out there. Maybe not, don't work with the feds, maybe that aren't as talented. But I'm saying, if you just were looking for that personality type, and I'm not even talking about him being on the spectrum, I'm just saying, like, the kind of the loner PhD student, right? So I would guess he's either going to sue them to high heavens on defamation, new identity, live somewhere else on, you know, kind of not the taxpayer's dollar in a negative way, but you know what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, Puerto Rico is really beautiful. I'll tell you, I'm sure they would find somewhere all to go really nice.
Yeah. And somebody said, well, how does the green launcher fit into it? Phoenix, this is where I'm going to lean on you, because I'm so glad that someone asked.
The green machine, that's what they're calling it now. Yep. Remember, at nighttime, and I should just do a sample video to show people what we're talking about. You know, in Hollywood, it's all about the lights, camera, action. And this is exactly the perfect scenario to say, even with the comments about 4chan, the internet, Papa Roger, all these other people that had a play in this, it is like a game. You have got to put out the most information to have people believing, look the other way, distract.
Yes.
In my humble opinion, that car is green. At nighttime, my cameras show me that my plants are white.
Yep.
Okay, they don't show color at night. They show me that my cement is gray. It's white, black, and gray. So if a blue car drove by, it's a white car. If a pink car drove by, it would show me it's a white car. So if we put logic along with what we're looking at, what we're watching, what we're seeing, there's always something there you don't see. A perfect example is Birdie just showing you what was in that guy's shirt. You didn't see it. Birdie saw it. Birdie has bird eye, eagle view vision.
Yes.
All right. He saw it. He stopped it. He looked. It's like me looking at the cameras at Linda Lane, and I thought, something's not right here. There's just something not sitting right with me. I'm going to look into this more. And boy, the property management company, the documents and the legal documents. Do you know that green car drove all the way down Linda Lane to those apartments in the court documents?
And
it went,
it might have gone
yes,
to Arizona.
Yes. And it was wild. It is absolutely wild. The court documents that trace this vehicle everywhere. This car must have dropped off 4 people minimum, at least in the court documents that I've read.
Yeah. No, to me, looking at it now, I doubt anybody. I feel like I was such a meathead in college, Phoenix. I doubt anybody has ever seen this. Has anybody in the chat ever seen Terry Tate, the Office linebacker, by chance? And I'm going somewhere with this. Yeah, and also, if you guys are just tuning in, I do upload the full lives to YT. Apparently, TikTok doesn't like you say other platforms' names, but it's at Birdie Bombshells on YT. Okay, so anyways, if you've never seen that Terry Tate Office linebacker, the reason why I bring that up, Phoenix, is it's like almost as if somebody in the DOJ or the FBI, somebody got a position, or maybe they changed. And this has nothing to do politically. I'm just saying, like, it does seem like someone came in and said, they got briefed on what's going on. They're like, oh, hell no. We're cleaning this all up swift, fast. We're getting the C groups out of here. We're getting the corruption out of the local PD. Any corruption in the courts, we're going to expose it. And they wrapped it all up under one giant umbrella of an op. And if that is what happened, I feel like they did it flawlessly, assuming that nobody actually got unalived in there in Witsack.
And this is the first time ever in history that you're seeing it happen live because of this app that we have that we can talk about it together instead of just trying to read it in a newspaper and what they're trying, to push your way with no critical thinking skills. We knew intuitively something was not right in this case.
Yes. And I find it interesting. So this is when I go through and I say, I don't think that Kohberger was random, everybody. I said, I believe that Kohberger was the behavioral release valve for the public narrative, and it worked. Think about that. That narrative built upon Brian Kohberger is so clean that couldn't be random. That had to be built around him. Criminology, loner, new school, doesn't have friends, apparently creeped out all these girls, all this stuff. I found it interesting that on Dateline, they asked the roommate that moved out's mom, why do you think he did this? Her answer was, because they're beautiful. And I'm not saying that there's not weirdo psychos like that, but it just seemed like so surface level. They're just talking. They're not investigating. They're pulling on emotional heartstrings. And I don't know. That was something that really stuck out to me. But I was going to say, to finish that point, when I say Brian Kohberger wasn't random and he was the behavioral release valve, what I mean by that is that if this op or the grid collapsed, they'd sacrifice the pawn. Well, what did we see at the end? And people can say, oh, well, that's how apparently Brian Kohberger typed it in his phone. How would Dateline know that? How would Steve know all the stuff that he's saying that was on Brian's phone with the star watching apps and all this stuff? How do these people all know that in one of the most gagged federal cases that we've seen in recent history? But you know what's interesting, everybody? You type in H7 let's do this. I just want to show you guys again. I thought that was like a digital breadcrumb. Let me screenshot this. I felt like this was a digital breadcrumb. People are like, no, it's a misspelling. It's just right there on the keyboard and that. I'm like, okay, well, first of all, one, if they were going to type it out how Koberger did, right, how would they know that? Two, if it wasn't and just the people producing it did this, don't you think some editor would be like, dude, you spelled that so off? Like, if I just showed you this, would you even know that they were talking about Bundy? Prior, you would. So what's interesting is this. You put this in, and it says how on. Well, now, what does H7NDY own thing? Okay, so then it says that it's okay. So here's what's interesting. It says it's a deliberate play on words combining chess notation with the nickname H7. That's a tactical square. Okay, so focus on H7 then. Oh.
Checkmate.
And it also says Greek gift, sacrifice target, classic bishop, sacrifice B, H7s used to rip open the king's defenses. And they took down the king of the C group.
And didn't I say the other day they're playing chess where we're watching checkers?
Yes, exactly. I truly believe that this was an Easter egg that was done on purpose.
There have been Easter eggs all around. Like I said, they're using videos, audios to communicate to whoever they're trying to communicate and get the messages to. You know, I worked in telecommunications in the military. There are different ways to send messages. You don't think about it in your everyday normal situation without getting in big time trouble if you are talking to other countries that you should not be talking to. If you are doing nefarious activities that you should not be doing as an American citizen, that are probably will get you a federal charge. Now, these people doing this were leaving Easter eggs all over the place, Bertie. If you played around with some of the video files, watching News Network, watching different things, you'll start to pick up on these Easter eggs. You'll see it all over the place.
Well, yeah. And, again, someone just said I try to look at the chat and then my brain gets distracted when I see people go, but why? Who's the king? Guys, it's one of those things where I can't make you, I won't be able to let it process in your brain. I can put it there and I can show you that it, like, critical thinking would explain it. So if you were like, well, who's the king? Why would there be an Easter egg? Well, if this was a giant C group takedown, they just took down the king. They literally took down the leader of the Sonoma C group.
And the reason why, I want you, Bertie, right there where you're at, to look up NLP. And I want you to understand how powerful this is. The media uses it. It's a form of AI. And it'll probably help everyone here watching and in the chat to understand what is NLP and why are they using it on citizens.
Is this the right thing? Oh, yeah.
Yep.
All right. So NLP is natural language processing, the field of AI that gives computers the ability to understand, interpret, and generate human language. You'll see it in ChatGPT, voice assistants like Siri, spam filters, and machine translation. An example would be Google Translate. Right there.
Whoa. Neuro-linguistic programming.
Interesting. It's a controversial set of techniques that claim to reprogram the brain's patterns through language and behavior modeling, popular in coaching, therapy, and self-improvement circles. Examples: anchoring positive emotions to gestures, like a thumbs up, using language to influence body language to build rapport. Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's wild. But Dateline was using some of those key strategies. to convince the public this guy is guilty. In our own human minds, we're like, no, this guy's picture's creepy. No, they used A. Well, they said this and this. Have you seen the videos of people saying, well, Xana ran up the stairs and did? They've already convinced people that Xana ran up the stairs when she actually wasn't even there.
Guys, I'm not even joking you. I felt like the Dateline episode was like a chat GPT script on bath salts. Okay. It was so just scripted. And I get it's a show, but it's like now they're telling us there's a chasing scene in the stairwell. And that's how the sheath potentially was there. And it's like, well, if that's the case, how did the sheath potentially end up?
I'll be there in a second here. Yeah, I am. Woke up. Yeah, the IgG is out, and the way I haven't looked at it, but I was told about it, and this is what I was told. They're not going to allow, like Ann Taylor, to question the IgG. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of sucky. It's just another thing in this fucking case that's just, it's fucked up. And she actually agreed to this, is my understanding. That, and so they're not going to know the chain of custody part, and that's such a huge part of this case. I don't know. I'm going to have to read it and make sure what I'm being told is correct. But yes, the IgG is out. I'll go on a little bit longer here with this, and then
Up underneath the victim. I mean, I don't understand the well, it's almost like this. The media is powerful. And if you've noticed around controversial cases, I can't be the only one that's picked up on, depending on how the media swings it to the general public, it allows people to process the corruption or the things that are wrong with the case. Perfect example, the Karen Reed case. Now that one actually could be happening that way. Gabby Petito, Brian Laundrie. I don't think many people, because of the way the media frames the narrative, everybody. That's why I call the show narrative warfare, because the media gets to pick and choose what narrative the general public sees on it. They don't actually allow people to think for themselves. They want to tell you what to think. Now, if you were to just look at this on paper in the court documents, and you saw that a man, for the first time ever in U.S. court history, had to prove a reasonable suspect, and that you saw that the only thing linking him to the crime scene is touch DNA that doubled in size after it came back from the lab, where there's no chain of custody, no record of who touched it, who got it when, and the guy's defense attorney is getting surprised in court telling the judge, we don't know how this happened. Can somebody tell us how this happened? And you look at how the media has made this man guilty prior to him even getting a trial. I am not defending Brian Kohberger if what the news says is the truth, that he did this because he was jealous of their beauty and he was unable to attain women like that in his life. So he went in and he unalived them with a single fixed blade K-bar, then he should burn in hell. But my brain, my intuition, my spidey senses, they're going off that something is not right here.
Absolutely. And
Okay, and I want to show that this is Birdie. All right, it's Birdie Bombshells, I do believe, or no, it's just Birdie here now. Okay, let me see what I'll copy the link address. Yeah, the mods have been putting it out there anyway. I think it's Birdie Bombshells. and make sure you sub up to him because he really does the digging, and he's got great shows, and he puts out quite a few shows, a few a day, so usually anyway. And he's on TikTok, his TikTok channel at 7 o'clock every night. Anyways, so there's that. Let me get that out of there. And I'm back. So, you got to think, okay, what he's saying, and they're with these busts that have gone down. I mean, that's huge. Terry, thank you. Terry Martin, thank you very much for putting out those stats that I put up on the screen. I appreciate that a lot. Because they were huge. And, but when you have the cartel infiltrating your universities, and then you have like the FBI infiltrating the universities to try to catch the cartel. Now, what kind of fucked up mess is that, right? What kind of fucked up mess is that? Think about it. That's a fucked up mess. Was the four, Kaylee, Maddie, and Ethan and Zana, did they get extracted from the house? Were they helping the DEA? And were they extracted? We have to ask. I mean, it sounds crazy, right? It sounds crazy as fuck. But we have to ask that question. And the reason we have to ask, I mean, little things. I'm here to help you. They knew they were after him. And JS tells Maddie, they're going to get you girls for that, Maddie. So did these other, like the DA, FBI, did they go, we have to get them out of there? Is this what happened? We have to ask it. I'm not saying it is. I'm not going there. I'm leaving it up to all of you to make up your decision when you look at the whole case. Because when you look at the whole case, it could be something like that. Or they did get red rummed because the FBI and the DA didn't get there in time. And that's something else to think about. Did they not get there in time to get their informants out safely? So they would be looking for a fall guy. Or Mr. Bryan was working with them and was on the way there to help them or extract them. And then when he couldn't extract them, there's your fall guy for the FBI and the DA, and nothing has to come out about all the shit they're doing. Is that why he said, did anybody else get arrested? So, I mean, you have to look at everything and the whole case, and sometimes it does seem like that, right? Everybody's questioned it. Everybody out there's questioned this for a long time, man. This seems like it's a script. Like, what the hell? Then you have to look at the the decisions and that the courts made, and the prosecutions made, and the defense is made. And you have to question it all. Because it doesn't make sense the way it stands. Yes, PSYOP. Yeah, that's the name for it. Yep. Is that what happened? Or was it a PSYOP that went wrong? Totally went wrong. And you have agencies scrambling to cover their asses. Yeah, I mean, so you have to look at it, right? You have to. You have to try to make sense of it all. And it's hard in this case to make sense of it all. And it's hard to say, well, this guy could have done it, and this guy could have done it, or this guy could have done it, or this guy could have done it. I mean, it can go on like, I bet you I could come up with 100 suspects. And you know what? That's the way they want it. Is it just a frickin' distraction to cover for their asses? Those busts are very telling. All those busts and everything they got is very, very telling. Biggest busts and stuff in decades. In decades. Does it have something to do with this case? And I leave it up to you to make your own choices and your own opinions. Because here at Once Upon a Crime Time, our family here, we all have opinions. And we all can discuss them. And we do. All right. Well, I love you guys very much. And yeah, Tuesday night. It's weird. Tomorrow night, no way. Timberwolves are on, and I'm telling you, they're rocking. They've been rocking. And I love my Timberwolves. So anyway, I hope my mods, I hope you have a beautiful rest of the evening. And my subs, my whole family, I love you very much. And, you know, until next time, rock and roll. Love you. I'll find something good. I don't know if I dare play this or not. Should I? I haven't tried it yet. Here we go. Rock and roll.
And we are going to play one more song for you. And just want to say thank you guys so much for coming to the stream. And if you couldn't make it out to the tour, I hope you enjoyed being able to at least watch it on YouTube. And thank you guys so much for everything. Just a small town girl living in a lonely world. She took the midnight train going anywhere. Just a city boy, born and raised in South Detroit. He took the midnight train going anywhere. Hope you guys are singing along at home, okay? Everybody sang along to this. It was so fun. So sing along no matter where you are, even if people think you're weird. A singer in a smoky room, a smell of wine and cheap perfume. For a smile they can share the night. It goes on and on. Shadow guys enjoyed. For everybody who couldn't make it to the tour, thank you so much for joining us here. And everybody who did come to the tour and then decided to come watch this again. We really appreciate you guys, all the donations on the stream, and everybody who bought tour merch. Remember, you can go get yours right now on first211.com. And that's it. We hope you guys had fun.
Thanks,
we hope you
everybody.
enjoyed the set, and we will see you guys next time.
Bye.